they offered me the Dillon Danis fight. I guess it would have been, yeah, it was right after my first win, probably the week after my first Bellator when I took that Bellator fight on 2.5 weeks notice with only 3 amateur fights. And I went in there and I beat a guy on my pro debut who was 3-3-1. So he had a lot more experience than me. I beat him, and then they offered me the Dillon fight, and we said yes immediately, obviously. And then it was just radio silence from their end, and I guess he turned me down. And I'm sure they threw 60 names at him because he would be the A side of that fight. So they probably threw a bunch of names at him, and I'm probably not the only one he's turned down. So I can't really stake my claim on that. As it's the case with most good grapplers versus good grapplers, most of it would probably be on the feet. A good example of that is Askren and Damian Maia that we just saw. Two fantastic grapplers, even though it was, a submission finish. Most of the fight was contested on the feet. And I have a feeling that's how it would be. And I just don't like the matchup for Dillon. His offensive wrestling isn't crazy, He's got great jiu-jitsu. Don't get me wrong, I believe he's a brown belt world champion or a brown belt Pan Am champion, something like that. But his record at black belt, I think he's 14-17 at black belt. So he's not a world beater when it comes to, top guys. But I feel good. Like, I'm taller than him. I'm rangier than him. I feel like I'd pick him apart from the outside and he'd eventually shoot on me and, get caught. But again, I don't want to focus on that because that's in the past. I don't think I'm going to get the opportunity to fight him. He dodged the bullet on that one, I feel like. But I got this guy, Yohan, and I feel great about it. I feel great about most fights I'm going into. So, I feel great, with my grappling pedigree. I just don't, unless I know anybody can get caught, but unless he catches me and flatlines me, I just feel like the grappling, he's not going to be able to hold up over 15 minutes. I'm going to get my hands on him. I'm going to wrap him up, and I'm going to get him down. And that's how every single fight's gone so far. So, I don't think I'm too out of school for thinking that's what's going to happen. Again, I could be wrong. Who knows? Anything can happen in there. We know that. I started in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu underneath my dad. I would have been 6 or 7, something like that. And then I did that. I've been doing that from then until now. Then I started wrestling in high school. I wrestled 3 years high school, 3 years college. And now I've been doing MMA full time for, over 3 or 4 years now. So yeah, I've been on the grind for a long time. And I feel like I hear a lot of people talk about the nerves. Maybe it's because, I did fight on a pretty big stage at Bellator. It was in a whole arena, and the whole arena was packed. So I feel like I've fought on some pretty big stages, and I just don't get the nerves like I hear some guys talk. Like you hear Cowboy, and Cowboy's been in way bigger fights than me, but I've heard Cowboy, and not just Cowboy, a million other fighters talk about the nerves, and they feel like they're gonna puke. And sure, when I'm leading up to my fights, I feel anxious, but it's not like a nervous energy. It's just the anxious energy that I'm about to fight. I don't get overwhelmed with nerves like that. And I feel like that's because I've just been in sports where it's one-on-one combat in some degree since I was 6 years old. So of course I still get nervous, but it's just, I don't feel what everyone else always talks about. I don't know if that's I don't know. It's just I always feel like, I guess we're here and we're doing it. I'm never looking around like, oh my goodness, what's gonna happen? I always feel great. I'm always ready to go. And that just comes from the confidence in my training, the confidence in my background, and the confidence in all my coaches. I'm surrounded by a great team at Webb's and at RGA Philly and down here in Millville with all my students and all my training partners. Again, head coach Daniel Gracie. One of my other coaches, Jonathan Webb, and again, I'm just surrounded by killers. We got Sean Brady, Jeremiah Wells, Pat Sabatini. The list goes on. Anthony Terrell, and even I've said this for years. We've got the best amateurs in the country at RGA Philly. I'm convinced. Like, some of our amateur guys are like some of the tougher rounds in the room. It's crazy. So I'm completely confident, and that not only comes from myself, just from me and all my training partners. I know what I'm going to feel. I know for a fact this guy ain't going to have the takedown defense of Sean Brady. Ain't going to have the takedown defense of Paul Felder. Ain't going to have the takedown defense of Jeremiah Wells. So again, I'm confident. I'm confident going to this one, as I have been for all my other ones. And again, a couple of the guys I fought in amateur were distinguished brown belts. My very first amateur. My amateur debut was against a guy that had a litany of pro jiu-jitsu matches, super fights, just a whole list of them. He actually, the first guy that I beat in amateur, he beat me way back in the blue belt divisions when I was 16, when we were both blue belts. So again, I've faced way more distinguished grapplers in my amateur days. So again, I'm worried, I'm taking him seriously, but I'm confident that I'm going to get him down and get the job done early. Hopefully, we all hope it. I feel like the ones where you hope it goes quick, it's always longer and harder. So I won't jinx myself, but I feel good about this one. Best way to describe it, I'd say probably a quarter of the people think that it's Alabama. So a lot of guys wearing camo, a lot of woods. I've heard other people describe it as the ghetto in the middle of the woods. So, it's a real small town. Same town that actually Mike Trout's from in baseball. So, everyone goes crazy about him. He's the best player in baseball right now. So, yeah, we actually graduated from the same school. Not that I knew him or anything like that, but, way South Jersey, yeah, small town boy. I don't know. Like, my last fight, I set a record for the fastest Kimura in Bellator or UFC history, and it was 42 seconds. So I don't know why they wouldn't want to bring me back, but they kind of gave me the cold shoulder afterwards. So it's very confusing. So and I'm not too broken up about it because the end goal was the UFC. So I feel like if I stuck with Bellator for a while, they are a competitor of the UFC, so they're a lot more reluctant to bring those guys over. When for CFFC, it's already on UFC Fight Pass. Many champions of CFFC have gone to the UFC. It's a good pipeline for a feeder program for the UFC. So I'm happy where I'm at. It's way closer to home, so I have the opportunity to make more money through ticket sales, and CFFC's treating me real right. So I'm happy with where I'm at. So my Instagram and Twitter are both the same, C Dixon MMA. You can follow me on Twitter. I can't say that you're always going to agree with what I say, but because I always I love arguing with idiots on Twitter. Some people you always hear like, man, I don't even respond to those people, or man, I don't get involved with that. But I don't know. I just like it. I like getting in there and arguing with people, calling them stupid. I just like getting in the mix, So yeah, if you want to follow me, C Dixon MMA on Twitter, Instagram, yeah, come check me out. And if you're in the area in South Jersey, I got March 21st, Atlantic City, CFFC 80, I believe. I could be wrong on that. I should probably know that. CFFC 80, it's going to be live on UFC Fight Pass. So if you've got Fight Pass, make sure you tune in. This is going to be a great night of fights. Trust me. You're going to see a lot of finishes. Hopefully a finish from me. I have finished every single opponent so far across amateurs and pros, 100% submission rate. So if you want to lay some money down, I'd lay some money on Connor Dixon submission victory. I'm going to say second round. I feel like second round because most guys can put up a good fight for the first round, but once they start getting tired, I'm going to find that net, I think I'm going to find it. So put some money down. Connor Dixon, CFFC 80, March 21st. I'm ready. I hope you guys all tune in. I hope you tune in. I'm pumped. I'm ready. I feel great. Weight's coming down good. I'm bigger, stronger than I've ever been before. Weight's coming off great. So I feel real good about this one.